Bank of America, or BOFA for short, warns that job losses are about to start. They recommend firing couples at the same time so you can say they're losing both of these jobs. Happy Friday to everyone, but especially to the jurors in the Alex Jones trial. May candy and gold coins rain down upon your precious heads today. In our top story tonight, stunning revelations from the latest January 6 hearings. The short version is that Donald Trump and his entire team knew he was lying to the country and kept going anyway. And they knew that lie was leading to violence, and he kept repeating it anyway. You know, I'm surprised Putin is the one leading us into a nuclear war over a dick measuring contest because my money totally would have been on this guy. For its next act, the January 6th committee is going to subpoena Donald Trump. So if you've been dying to watch a former president plead the fifth on primetime TV, great news! Christmas is coming. An employee says he was ordered to move boxes from the basement at Mar-a-Lago to Trump's private residence after receiving a subpoena. But come on, that doesn't necessarily mean Trump's guilty of something, right? Maybe he just wanted to give those boxes a little change of scenery. You guys are so suspicious of everything, I swear. Besides, as we've said before, Trump didn't take anything that was classified. And if he did, he immediately declassified it by holding it up to his head like Johnny Carson. Trump's latest mouth diarrhea has former President George Bush storing documents in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant.
George H.W. Bush took millions of documents to a former bowling alley and a former Chinese restaurant where they combined them, so they're in a bowling alley / Chinese restaurant.
Okay, so the place where these not at all classified documents were stored was a former bowling alley and Chinese restaurant that were converted into a storage facility and guarded by federal agents. Is he saying that buildings can't be repurposed for other uses? Because if so, Spirit Halloween is in a boatload of trouble. Marjorie Taylor Greene, or shut up, she's coming back, shh, to her friends, lamented the death of free speech in America in a speech that she made pretty darn freely. The listeners peaceably assembled around her were also not mysteriously attacked by jackbooted Democrat thugs, and to date, no purges, pogroms, purifications, or pistol whippings have been announced by Nancy Pelosi. However, surgical veganification does begin on Monday. Well, folks, I hope you're happy. Tulsi Gabbard has left the Democratic Party. That's just great, you guys. Well done. What are we supposed to do now without the backbone of our party? Who's going to come up with all the good ideas like give Vladimir Putin whatever he wants so we won't be mad at people? I hope you're happy. The Supreme Court has declined to take up a fetal personhood case because they don't want any more protesters trampling their daffodils. Now hang on there, justices. You were the ones who came up with this abortion is unconstitutional premise, and now in 14 states, you're legally required to carry that premise to its logical conclusion. Herschel Walker's campaign is bouncing back from last week's "How many abortions did you pay for?" scandal. Just kidding, it's not. Take a look.
I've been telling this little story about this bull out in the field with 6 cows, and 3 of them are pregnant. So you know he got something going on.
Hey, sir, bones a lot. Maybe this isn't the best moment to make a joke about being super fertile? Boris Johnson, you like to stick your dick in stuff. You want to maybe chime in here? Representative Alyssa Slotkin wants blood. Lots and lots of fresh new blood, covering the seats and flowing down the hallways of the nation's capital.
We need a new generation. We need new blood.
What nefarious plans does she have for all that blood? Why must it be the blood of youth? How far is she willing to go to slake her crimson thirst? We cannot know, and we dare not ask. OPEC has decided to limit oil production to artificially drive up the cost of oil and gas. The world was aghast as once again, OPEC acted in their own greed-fueled self-interest. That's why I'm not serving crude oil at my family's dinner table anytime soon. And speaking of high prices, there's one hot commodity that's been a real pain in the derriere to get. Our own Chef Austin has some alternative suggestions for those trendy butterboards.
Hello and welcome. I would like to take today to talk to you about a problem that has been absolutely plaguing society. Yes, I'm talking about the skyrocketing cost of butter and how I can no longer afford to make a kick-ass butter plate for my friends and family when they come over. And I need a new solution, and so do you. So we're going to try a few options today and see what we can come up with. First, butter is basically just cream, right? So All right, let's just try cream. Let's try cream. Okay, we got cream and... Actually, no, that's pretty gross. That's not a good solution. Okay, butter is fat. Butter is just fat. We'll replace the fat. We'll try it again. Haha! Olive oil, everyone's favorite. People love it. Hit it, but that's not gonna work at all either. Nope, not even with parsley. Okay. Alternative butters. That's where it's gonna be. Alternative butters. Almond butter. I don't know how almond butter works. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, spitballing here. All right, Lunchables. We're gonna just do some Lunchables, because that's good, yeah? Just like, shit. I accidentally made a charcuterie tray, which I think means technically, yeah, I've got to have one fluid OZ of tequila for that one. So good at parties. All right, you know what? I've got one last idea, and I think it might do the thing we need it to do. Okay, not butter, not cream. Yes, this is it. You're going to be a hit at all your parties. Just a fat wad of ice cream on a tray. Come on. This is, yes. We've solved it. You're going to be a hit at parties. Don't worry. We are glad to be here for you in the kitchen. Nailed it. Back to you in the studio, Andrea.
Guys, what did you get Vladimir Putin for his 70th birthday? Because the president of Belarus got him a gift certificate for a tractor. Not a tractor, not a gift certificate to surly dictator menswear. No, a gift certificate for a tractor. Reach for comment, Putin said, "Thank you, Alexander. Would you like a pina colada?" New Zealand wants to curb greenhouse gases by taxing cow burps. Farmers have responded with a proposal to stop giving their cows so much beer. It's tough though, because they're always in the mood for one. Wait, I'm getting a note from my producer. I should keep milking this story, but you find the humor utterly disappointing. Steer clear of puns, okay? Folks, my producer thinks this story is done. At least that's what I heard. Should you be worried that fentanyl is in your child's Halloween candy? Definitely. Instead of selling fentanyl to addicts who are eager to purchase it, drug dealers are sneaking it into Halloween candy to hook kids who have a net worth of $5.32 in their piggy banks. Parents should be especially vigilant this year when sneaking Halloween candy from their child's stash after they go to bed. Management at Meta is forcing their employees to visit the Metaverse at least once a week because they're not using it enough. It's just like that time that Gustave Eiffel was like, "That thing? Oh, I'm not going up in there. That thing sucks." The IMF has confirmed that the global economy is going to be no bueno for quite some time. How can you weather the economic storm? Our chief financial correspondent, Jen Haston, is here to offer some advice. Jen, what should we do?
Well, Andrea, there's one thing that's a sure bet right now.
Is it NFTs?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. No, it's definitely not NFTs.
Well, what is it then?
Hiding your money in the Caymans.
I'm sorry?
Hiding your money in the Caymans is what rich people have been doing for the past several millennia. Just get your money all scooped up in a pile and put it in a bank in the Cayman Islands. Wait till all this mess is over and then go put it back where it was before. Easy peasy. I saw it on Dynasty.
I'm not sure that's an actual financial strategy.
You want to go back to NFTs?
No, your thing definitely sounds better.
Okay then. Good luck. It's gonna be a bumpy ride.
Very true. Thanks, Jen. Harvey Weinstein's lawyer says he's stuck in a medieval, unhygienic jail cell. Said the other 7,984,472,117 people in the world who are not Harvey Weinstein or his lawyer. Good. In William Shatner's new memoir, he recounts a cold, dark, black emptiness he felt as he was gazing at Earth from a spaceship. Ironically, a cold, dark, black emptiness is also what people feel when gazing at reruns of T.J. Hooker. A high school golf team got more than they bargained for when they showed up to a golf course and found a strip club event in progress featuring topless women. Since then, 1,296 students have joined the golf team. A 49-year-old man is playing college football in North Dakota. The man's knees were reportedly far too healthy for his age, so he's decided to take them out. A man was arrested after trying to smuggle 2 pythons in his pants. His Tinder profile said 3 pythons, but that middle one was more like a garden snake. And at this point, I'd like to beseech God for a moment, if I may. Oh Lord, please grant me, your humble servant, the confidence and fearlessness and sheer audacity of this man who thought, I bet I could keep these 2 giant snakes calm for a few hours, so that I might accomplish great things in the face of adversity. In Pikachu's name, amen. Inventive British pervert Keith Tyson maintains a bit of topiary in his front yard of a nude female figure. For some reason, Mr. Tyson was surprised by the frequency of drunk men breaking into his yard to copulate vigorously with a sultry hedge. To Mr. Tyson, we say, come on, dude, you weren't the only one thinking it, and that ain't no green thumb you got down there. Turning away from wars, economic downturns, and right-wing weirdos, let's talk about something actually important: fat bears. In what is surely the worst kind of vote rigging imaginable, the Katmai National Park Twitter account announced that Holly, Bear 435, had triumphed over unnamed male bear 747 in a semifinal, only to retract her win a day later. However, real patriots were in the wings to ensure the continuation of democracy, and after the forces of evil were vanquished, we have a victor. It's 747, baby! That's right, the Barrowplane has landed a first-class flight to Snoozeville. Bear Force One flying high! Folks, voting for bears is important, but some might argue that voting for humans is even more important. However, that can be tricky if you're a parent. With us here to discuss that challenge is the Executive Director of Politisit, Emily Teixeira. Thanks for being here, Emily.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
So can you tell us a bit about what Politisit does?
So Politisit is a small, nonpartisan, nonprofit organization, and our whole mission is to get parents more involved in civic activities and civic engagement, down from PTA meetings, city council, all the way up to lobbying Congress, or specifically these days, we're working on our voting initiative. So getting parents to the ballot box is a big thing. And we do that by covering the cost of childcare.
So for anyone who does not have kids, why might it be hard for parents to vote?
For parents, we have an added layer of difficulty because we have to figure out what to do with our kids while we're voting. And if you can't vote during hours when your kids are either at school or already with a childcare provider, you have to figure out, are you taking your kid with you? And if so, do you have snacks? Can you bring snacks? Do you have all of the accoutrement that having a small child with you requires? Does your kid have the patience to potentially stand in line with you? Some places up to hours, people are in line. Will they touch the buttons and shut down voting systems? Because I have a friend who had that happen to her. And some places also make it kind of restrictive in terms of you can't have anyone else in the actual ballot space with you. And so what are you going to do with your 4-year-old? Let them just run around outside? Hope they stand right next to you behind the curtain? It's hard to say. So if you aren't bringing your kid with you to the polling place, which personally I have not done yet, and I'm hoping to avoid for a while, then you have to pay for childcare or set it up. And that's an expense and a barrier for a lot of families.
Yeah, so I'll tell you, I had to go to the post office yesterday, solo, thank God, and there was a woman in there with 3 children under the age of 5, and she was under siege, man. She was not having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I think people who are parents, we automatically see it and we're like, oh, I feel you. I get that.
So let's talk about moms specifically. Why might it be more important than ever for moms to vote in this particular midterm election?
Yeah, so as an organization, because we are so nonpartisan, I will say that it's important for moms to vote in every election. It's important for parents and families to be involved in every level that they can be, but especially in elections, because when we vote for representatives, those are the people that are making decisions about who is on our, so we vote for our school board, right? So we're voting on who's taking care of the rules around what our children learn, who's going to read the textbooks and approve them for our schools. And then you keep going all the way up the chain to who's going to help with paid family medical leave. Will that get passed in your state? Nationally, what will be the requirements for children and childcare providers? So can you start making some of those laws lax and make it easier for childcare providers that aren't amazing? I think it's a whole gamut of issues that should be very important, but particularly on this, next election, I think there's a lot of things that are on the ballot that we aren't really thinking of because they're not specifically on the ballot, right? So there's women's reproductive rights, there's gun violence prevention issues, all these things that affect both mothers, but also our babies.
So I know Politisit is a nonpartisan organization, and we here at the Phoenix News Network are a little bit less so. And so I will say, I think if moms want to have control over how many babies they have, then voting is really important right now. Also, I want to hear, why is this particular issue important to you? Have you had an experience with your own kids where you were like, oh gosh, we got to help people out with this?
Or our program, actually, we have two separate programs, and one is our Child Care for Voters program. But we have moved to North Carolina, and so I will start having to figure out where my kids are and when and how I can access early voting so that I don't have to bring them with me yet, although someday I would love to, as they get older and more controlled. But our other program that we have is a civic engagement program, and that is currently just based in Oregon, but we are looking to start expanding and spreading that. And our civic engagement program is the one that does direct reimbursements to parents for having a babysitter in their home while they go do civic engagement activities. And that is where I really got hooked for Politisit and felt really strongly to be involved. I used to work for the government for quite a while, and I wasn't able to participate in advocacy and lobbying and things like that because of the Hatch Act. And so once I was back in the States after living overseas and was able to participate, I realized I really want to get involved and I need to talk to these legislators about what is on the docket for the year. And so I would take my tiny children. At the time, I had a 4-month-old and a 2.5-year-old to Salem in Oregon, to the Capitol, and I would schlep them around to talk to legislators and try and get different legislation passed for things that I was very passionate about. And there were times where it was really hard because I would have to be doing this as a volunteer, so I wasn't being paid to lobby, and I was paying somebody to watch my children if I was lucky enough to get someone to do it. And so it was costing me money to be involved, and I am very privileged that that is something we as a family were able to do. But the people whose voices we need to hear a lot of aren't people who look and act and have my background. It's people who can't afford to leave work and go lobby and also pay a babysitter.
So if you're a parent that needs the help of Politisit, where can you go?
So you can go to our website. It's www.politisit.org, and you can fill out some of our forms and applications. Our civic engagement program is for Oregon residents only right now, but our Child Care for Voters program, there's also a link on our website for that, and you can see where we have set up partnerships, and there are organizations that are providing childcare that we are covering the cost. So we have a handful of sites in Texas who will have open drop-in childcare, and you can just drop off your baby and go vote. And we have a couple in North Carolina now in the Greensboro area, and one up in West Philadelphia.
Excellent. And people can donate there as well?
Absolutely. Yes, there is a link for that.
Okay, great. I would urge everybody to donate to help parents get more involved in the political process. I think it's a wonderful thing and a wonderful organization. And I want to thank you so much, Emily, for being here with us today.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
That wraps up this week's Friday Phoenix. Smash that subscribe button and we'll see you next week.